Right. Let's kick it off. Let's see what we got. We got ourselves some streaming. We got ourselves some of this. We got ourselves some of this. Substack. We're getting something. Yeah, we got ourselves a Substack. Ooh, Substack. Okay, so Substack mutes automatically. So whenever I open up Substack, I click the mute button and it unmutes me. But this is good. This is good. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to HappyTec. Look, it's a new view of me because I figured the other view, this view is meant for two people, so it's a little lonely if it's just me. So now you know. Um, I'm sure Fee will be along at some point, and then we'll switch back. Oh, I just got a message. It doesn't look like a message that I need to worry about right now, though. So, let's talk about email. I'm in the wrong place. Okay, Fee is in the wrong place. Or is she asking? I'm in the wrong place. Yes. I assume she must be in the wrong place. Did I go to the wrong place? Let's see. Doesn't look like it. I went to the right place. It's confusing, stuff like that. It's quite confusing. So, anyway, welcome to HappyTec. We're talking about email today. So, why is email so ubiquitous? It's clearly not perfect. I know there are people who say it's perfect. Email's not perfect, but people have been trying to kill email for a very long time. Slack tried to kill email, email's still there. Discord tried to kill email, email's still there. Instant Messenger, text messaging, phone calls, email just remains the bog standard of everything. Why is that? Well, email is what we call an open standard. And the difference between open standards and closed standards, in an open standard, it's available for anyone. It's not copyrighted, it's not trademarked. Anyone can set up email. The standard is very open. Slack, on the other hand, you could guess the Slack specifications and figure out how they do all that stuff. But if you made a Slack clone that actually used the same Slack stuff, Slack would sue you. And rightfully so. That's their intellectual property that you're basically ripping off. Same with Discord, same with Instant Messenger. Text messages are also an open standard. But then why does email propagate so well that way then? Because anyone can start an email server. If I want to, I can write the code for an email server or just use a code package and set it up. It's very easy, and that's why everyone does it. Everyone does email. That's why it's so ubiquitous. The other thing, and if it was a closed standard, it wouldn't be that way. So email, HTML, websites, those are all standards of the internet. And because those are internet standards that anyone can build, anyone does build on them. No one can tell you to stop. If, let's say, you're a country that happens to be cut off from the rest of the world via trade, you can still use email. You may not be able to email the rest of the world, but you can email each other because it's an open standard. Nobody can tell you not to use it. And that is the first reason why email is really good. Let me check on. Okay, what? There's a Zoom meeting in the calendar event. So somehow she has a belief that she is in this meeting. Have I not started this meeting? Am I in the wrong meeting? Let's see what happens. Okay. Turns out I was in the wrong meeting. That's exciting. I don't know how I got to the wrong meeting. So let me see here. Basically, I went to live and I opened this Zoom meeting, which I think is your Zoom meeting, maybe. But then, yeah, I think this is, that doesn't make sense though. So from the calendar event, hi, from the calendar event, I I don't know. Yeah, because I just clicked on the one from the Zoom Workspace panel, and that brought this up. But you got here from the calendar. But when I went from the calendar, I went to a wrong thing. Oh well. Anyway, stream still looks okay. So that's
Also, hi, Grace.
oh hi
Grace,
Grace.
Grace is in the chat.
And where is she asking? Oh, so yeah, also the Substack might be a little bit behind. Substack is still me trying to figure out where the Zoom meeting is. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm just behind in Substack because she's answering us. So yeah, I just don't know what I'm doing at this point. It's a good start, folks. Happy Tech. We may not know what we're doing, but we're gonna help you figure out what you're doing.
We may not know what we're doing, but we get it done
We
anyway.
get it done anyway. That's exactly it. That's
Uh,
Happy Tech for you.
how are we on Instagram? Is the stream going through okay in there?
Yeah.
Should I run over and check?
Yeah, run on over to Instagram. Ask Zuckerberg how it's going.
Oh, Lord.
Looks okay to me.
Yeah, it is live, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Happy Tech News Live. And we have a lot of different topics ready for today. Also, Grace, if there are any topics that are on your mind, please let us know. You can put it in the chat, or um, if you want to also, if you're working and you need help with anything, you can join our Zoom. So let us know if that's something you'd want to do, and then we can help you live with any issues that you are having. So I think one of the interesting things that I want to talk about is around tech productivity and procrastination, distraction, focus around tech. So this is someone that I know. Let me share my screen. And she wrote this really interesting post on LinkedIn this week, and I thought it would be fun to go
There it
over it a
is.
little bit. So her name is Jessica Eastman Stewart, and it says maybe you should encourage your employees to smoke weed more often. Research done by Hewlett Packard found that IQs of employees who were interrupted by email, calls, or messaging were reduced by more than 10 points, which is twice that of smoking marijuana. And I find that really fascinating because I'm constantly self interrupting with messages, emails, and calls. And it really made me wonder, like, what is happening to deep work in my own life, and how can I set up my work environment to take advantage of technology in a way that isn't like ultimately messing with the work that I'm trying to complete. And she says a few different things here to managers, but you can also use this for yourself, for your own procrastination, or for your own um, productivity. That turn off notifications, or at least, or she says, or at the very least, go in and get those settings more specific so you're only getting pings about the truly important things. Oh, that rhymes. So I think that that's really such a good point. On my phones, I have all email notifications turned off. So I don't get email notifications at all, which actually saves me because and I am so reflexive in checking my email that I just go into the app anyway. And then I check it and I don't have to get that notification in order to know that a new email has come in because I check it so regularly. And that has really helped me because the notifications really can mess with my thinking, and then I'll be totally off track from the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. Um, so yeah, I actually agree with her, and I wanted to share this on here and maybe even just talk about like any other tactics that people have for how to make sure that they're getting what they need to do, that they're getting it done. Hi Gary,
Hi
welcome.
Gary.
We're talking about tech productivity and notifications and that kind of stuff. Go ahead, Rob.
One thing, whoops, you stopped sharing. Um, One thing that I would like to remark on with this, in particular for Slack, is you can actually set up notifications in Slack based on keywords. And when I worked at Slack, I did this for some things. So you can actually, if you can set certain notifications so that it only notifies you if you're being mentioned. So that would be like if someone ats you in the chat or you get a DM, right? High priority things, things that you particularly probably need to take a look at. If someone ats you, probably need to take a look at it. You can also set that up for words. So if you want to find out when anyone is talking about cornbread, you can put cornbread into Slack, and then anytime someone mentions cornbread in any channel you're in, it will show up as if you were mentioned. You aren't being mentioned, but it will give you the same type of notification. I know someone that had this on steroids where he just didn't have any channel notifications, but what he did is he had a list of 500 topics that he would get mentioned on, and it did not matter what channel you were in. If you mentioned something that he felt like you needed information about, he would be there. He would give you like 3 paragraphs of it. We all thought he was a robot for a long time just because of how effective he was at doing this. It was just because every time someone mentioned something, he knew exactly what they had mentioned, and he could look at it and he saw who it was, because you get that in the notification. He goes, oh, this person needs to know about this topic. I think he also may have just had a pre-recorded snippet for every single topic because he was on top of things way too fast. But you can do that in Slack. So that's basically, you go into your notifications and you can set a list of words that you would like to be notified on. It only works in channels that you're a part of, though. So channels that you aren't a part of, you won't get notified on. Anyway.
Awesome. Yeah. And so I just wanted to bring that up. So getting distracted is worse than, doing weed in terms of what your brain is capable of. And that can really affect so many things in everybody's work and projects and even like passion projects. So I really wanted to just share that and like help us have this conversation of like how do we have productive environments and productive in terms of purpose, because I feel like so often we're focused on productivity, but the thing is, when we are aligned in terms of our purpose, the productivity will flow and there will be this like automatic exchange of things. So understanding where your blocks are with your productivity will also help you understand your own like life purpose on earth. And I know it sounds like really far fetched, but it's actually really not. If you're constantly getting distracted by emails, when are you going to think about your intentional life? Because your awareness is going to get fragmented into these other arenas instead of focusing on the thing that you're trying to create and that creative potential within you. So I really wanted to bring that up. If anybody has any thoughts on this or has experienced anything around this, please share it in the chat or comment and let us know. And if this is something you're struggling with, we are trying to roll out a monthly sort of tech procrastination, like co-working space specifically around tech issues and digital marketing or digital issues. And so you can come and do co-working with somebody in a group setting for like 45, 50 minutes. And then Rob and I or one of our other staff will be there and will be able to answer some tech questions for you as you're trying to stop procrastinating on like digital decluttering, for example. We did that with somebody yesterday as part of the Unfrick Your Gmail workshop, where we went through emails with someone and kind of help them organize and plan how they want to handle their own emails. So I think there's a lot of potential there. If you're interested in the monthly free 1 hour sessions where you specifically focus on a tech or digital issue that you're running into or some software or platform, let us know and we can send you the information for that so that you can join us and you can meet other people and kind of see what they're working on too. And it's a good way to connect. So that's the topic there. I would like to go into a little bit of a Canva tutorial really quick. Do we have time for that? Okay. So
No,
let
we
me
only
share.
have we only have 45 minutes left. We don't have time for camera.
Also, are we stacked correctly so that the screen share is at the top?
Yep, sure is.
Perfect. Okay,
The
so oh, go ahead.
part of the right half of a little tiny bit of the right half of your screen is cut off. That's just because of how the way I have the setup, so that it can be as
Yeah.
big as possible.
Oh, and Grace said something in the chat. Did you catch that?
This is such an important topic. I've been setting FBOTs, focus blocks of time to do the hard stuff. Yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay, F bots. I will look that
FBOT.
up because I didn't actually know what that was. And Grace, how does that work when you're doing that? Are you is it like timing yourself?
Based on this message, I would guess setting a block of time in the calendar and like this is when I'm focused. I'm not checking. I don't know for sure, but I've seen other people do that.
I'm pulling this up. Yeah, yeah, I've seen other people do that too, but I'm wondering if she is like also within that trying to do timing. Oh, I do focus mate and set an intention. Yeah. So for
Okay.
anybody who doesn't know, I can also pull up focus mate.
Virtual
Focus mate
body
is
doubling.
fantastic. Yes. Um, so you can sign up with Focus Mate for free. I think you get 3 sessions a week for free. I've used it, and it's been pretty helpful for me. You're paired up with somebody who you already may have worked with, or with a new person, and you can tell them what you're doing, and they can tell you what they're working on. You can either like talk to them out loud, so you can both have a conversation, or if you don't want to talk and you just want to be in the um, discussing in the chat, you can just chat with them only. If you don't want to have a conversation, you don't have to be camera on. You can be camera off if you want. But for me, I've noticed this is a little bit of a hack. So sometimes I record myself doing what I need to do, like on video, because just having the video going gets me focused because I feel like someone's observing me. And then the other piece that happens is that I can't touch my phone because it's recording and I can't respond to things. So it blocks that phone when I'm trying to do some house related activities. Anyway, so yeah, this is Focus Meet, which I think Grace is talking about. There are other ones also that have popped up so you can look at them and kind of decide what works for you. And there are a lot of communities around this, and body doubling or co-working is very, very effective. And a lot of people who are very successful in business and entrepreneurship, they use body doubling. So there are people who will try to like grit their way through something, and they'll be like, I have to do it solo, I got to get this done. And generally it works better for most humans to do some form of co-working, which is why we had workspaces set up the way that they were set up. And now in this more fragmented way of working, it can help to have these online networks. Also, my dog is going nuts because she's trying to go outside. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Just gonna switch back over to Canva really. Oh no,
Well,
not
I'm
Canva,
gonna go
sorry,
let
we're
the
going
dog
to
out.
F. Okay, Rob is letting the dog out. Okay, so this is the one that Grace has shared, and thank you, Grace. We're trying to roll out like a find of the week for the live. So we'll put this in there because we keep getting really interesting information from people who either watch the live or watch our content, or will read the newsletter and send us something. So I'll put this in there for like nomination for this week. So this is FBot. And yeah, Jeff Sanders looks like, who I've never heard of before, so this is good. Um, and then let's see what is really going on: creativity and productivity. Right, and it's not all about creativity. Focus for me often means jumping from one task to the next very quickly. And I agree, it is dozens of small tasks. That's what I've noticed too in doing the business, but also in other areas, like when I'm working on writing. I've noticed that I have to switch. Sometimes I'll get an impulse for a different scene and I need to switch in and just like jot down a note really quick about where I want that scene or that character to go. So this is the checklist of how to create more focused time. Only check email and social media at predetermined times during the day. That wow, that's a big one for me. So I think part of making content, and Rob, we can talk about this too, is like it's making content is like the next level of social media addiction. I really think so. Like, you can just be a consumer, but when you've started creating, it becomes just that much more ingrained in like your mindset to like be on platforms and knowing what is working on what platforms, even checking out the settings. And often I'll think in terms of content too, which is a new thing that's happened in the last few years. And I've had to create organization systems around the content that I want to create. For example, for this live, we have a channel where every time something interesting shows up or someone sends me something interesting around technology, I'll put it in the Discord channel. And then during the week, when we're on the live, we'll go back through what's in there and pick what we're going to talk about at the live. That is not something I ever had before. And I've had to create that. So this is really interesting in terms of the just having predetermined times when you're on social media, because so much of what we do for the business is marketing. So I really want to like try to understand this from a marketing standpoint. Rob, do you have any thoughts? I feel like I'm talking a lot.
I feel like if you're building a reel for content, if you are processing a VOD, if you're building a marketing campaign, if you're writing ad copy, that's not really checking social media. That's you're working, you're doing a job. What I would say is it becomes really hard because if I'm putting up reels on Facebook, I have to be on Facebook on my personal account because that's how Facebook works. So it's really easy for me to just pop in and look at something else going on. But I think if you're one thing that could help is using a social media publisher. We've tried a couple. Haven't found one that works super well for us yet. But if you use one of those, then you're not on Facebook and you're not on Instagram. You're going on to that system and you're putting your content there and it's scheduling it and you are doing work things and there's that clear delineation, right? The other thing that you can do is just have a work account, right? Like we have that. And one of the things that's kind of funny for us is sometimes I'll log into the Unblock Me YouTube account only to find out that someone has been watching videos on the Unblock Me YouTube account. And so I've got recommendations, and I can always tell because it's recommendations. And so then I go and clear out the history because I don't watch YouTube videos on that account at all. And that's kind of wise because while I'm putting up content on that YouTube account, I don't want to get distracted by looking at something on the homepage. Right. And that has happened where I've gone on the homepage. Oh, that's interesting, and lost like 20 minutes. So I want to keep it clean. I don't want to see anything on here. Instagram and Facebook, that's a little harder to do. But the more steps you take to keep yourself away from the consumer face of social media, I think the easier it's going to be to stick to work mode and that you're still doing work items. That's one thing I would say. The other is like, I think if you feel like you can't just check your email 3 times a day, why not? Are you is part a big part of your job handling email? If so, maybe you need to check it more often. Maybe you need to check it every 2 hours. That's still scheduled. That still gives you blocks of time. And what I have found is most of the time, there are very few emergencies that need to be taken care of in 2 hours that someone's going to email you about. If there is an emergency that is going to be within 2 hours, I'm not emailing you. I'm sending you a message on Slack or Discord. We use Discord, so that's why I say Discord. But I'm sending you an urgent message on Slack. It says urgent. But I also, one of my managers at Slack said something really important to me. He said, Slack is not an instant messenger. And that's important. Why? Because in instant messenger, you're messaging instantly. It's kind of like having an actual conversation with the person. Back and forth. They are there, their computer or their device, actively paying attention to the conversation. You are doing the same. Slack is not designed to work that way. It's designed to be email. Like I mentioned earlier, Slack is trying to kill email. They're not very successful at it, but they've certainly tried. And because of that, they have a lot of tools so that you don't have to be there immediately to respond to the message. And so you can ignore your Slack for some time while you finish getting your stuff done. One of the ways that I think is really good for that is, yeah, turn off your notifications for a bit. You can snooze your notifications, and if you do that on Slack, it actually shows that you've snoozed your notifications. And you know what else? People can choose to send you the notification anyway, unless you turn that off. So if someone comes by and they say, I know that this person has snoozed their notifications, but this is very urgent, they can send you a notification anyway. That's
So,
useful.
and I think that that's such a good point in terms of how settings can support boundaries, right? The settings for different platforms and different software that you use or hardware that you use can support your boundaries, your self boundaries, which is where I am currently working right now is my own boundaries with myself and my own limits with myself and then also with others, right? As we're working together on this planet and doing everything that we're freaking trying to do on this planet, that you do need some amount of boundaries and settings can really support you with that. So that's something to kind of pay attention to and keep in mind as you're using different places online. Okay, so this is Publer, which Grace shared in the chat. And thank you so much for all these like recommendations and resources, Grace, of like things that you've used before. And this is a social media scheduler, and she said in the chat that she uses Publer and it does avoid being drawn into a hole in social media because social media is meant to kind of grip your awareness and keep your awareness locked in on it, right? For various reasons. And it's not always malicious, right? The platform is going to optimize for whatever is most interesting and relevant to the people who are using it because that's how they're going to make the most money. And so when you're in there, you're going to find things that you actually do care about and or you find are funny. So it's going to end up being this place that your interests are really supported and fed and nourished. And sometimes, you know, it can get really exploitative too in other ways. And we can talk about that at another point. But yeah, so this is a social media scheduling tool. And so probably you can just like go in there. You don't have to worry about the entire feed or your Instagram or your Facebook or TikTok feed. I'm assuming this uses TikTok. Yeah, it does. And it looks like it has a scheduler, which you can also see in like Meta's business suite. It looks pretty similar to that. I know Canva was doing scheduling for a while too, and it looks pretty similar to that. There are other ones as well, like HubSpot is another one that's pretty good and used a lot. But yeah, so this is the one that Grace has been using. And results that speak for themselves 2 times faster content creation and scheduling, and save 5 hours on weekly social media tasks. I think there is something to be said if you're a social media manager or coordinator to bulk content creation, bulk uploading, and bulk scheduling. That can really be a game changer. And if you're not trying to be an influencer and you're more trying to run a business, like a service-based business, like their Instagram account or their TikTok or YouTube account, it can really help to get that stuff up there in bulk so you don't have to worry about content for a few weeks. And then as things happen in the environment, you can do those impulse posts in between the scheduled posts so that you have content that is relevant to what people are talking about right now. But you have that, baseline of scheduled content ready to go. And that really helps if you're going on vacation and stuff to kind of work ahead. Yes, okay, so this is Publer. We also talked about FocusMate and FBot, which is, I already forgot what it meant. Hold on. Let me try to remember. It was focused blocks of time, blocks of time, which is FBot. Okay, so I really quickly want to just go into Canva for a second and share one thing that I noticed that I created today. And it's something I haven't really played around with before, and I thought it would be interesting to share it here through the live so people can kind of see how some of the Canva apps work essentially. So I'm just going to get this prepared. This is for an event that is coming up in a few weeks, but This is a flower. Rob, is this like properly configured on here? Yes, I think it's showing up
As
correctly.
much as it's gonna be, yeah.
Okay, great. So one of the new apps that I um, was playing around with when you go into a photo and in Canva and you go to edit image up here to add some more interesting features to the image. Um, oh, where is it? Hold on. I literally just had it recently used. This one. Was it Slice or was it Trippy? Not, oh, Liquify. Okay, so let's start over. So basic. Sorry. Okay, we're starting all over with that. Actually, I should drink some water before I do this because I will die. Okay, so one really cool aspect of Canva that I was playing around with more is photo photo editing, photo editing using their apps. And normally I'm doing this in Photoshop, and I haven't really explored a lot of Canva's like options when it comes to photo editing. But this week I took some time to really kind of see what they've like rolled out in terms of photo editing because I was trying to teach somebody something this week, and so I was also kind of in here playing around with it. Okay, the one that I was looking at was is called Liquify, and this is definitely there in Photoshop. If you've ever been to Photoshop, you know how it works in there, and it's really like actually let me turn this. Let me turn my rulers off really quick so we can see it better. Okay, so in Photoshop, you can warp things, and each graphic or each piece of content has a grid attached to it, and then different points of the grid you can manipulate it to change the shape. Um, and so Canva actually does this, but in a much less technical way. So you don't actually manipulate the thing yourself. Um, I don't know where my flower went. Hold on a second. I think it might be too big. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit smaller. Click mount. Huh. Give me one second. Okay, so for some reason it's disappearing. So I'm just gonna check the layers to make sure it's at the top. And I'm gonna try it one more time. So the way that I went to the Liquify um, app is under, you click on the photo layer that you are working with, you click on edit up here, and then you go down into apps, and then, oops, click see all and Liquify. It's the one with the pink flowers, and I have no idea why it's disappearing right now, which is really frustrating me because it was working earlier. Okay, hold on, let's try this. Maybe it's that design. Okay, let's try it again. So this is the flower. We're gonna go to edit again. Okay, we're gonna go to apps. We're gonna go into recently used, Liquify. Okay, there it is. That's how it was supposed to work on the other one. I think there's some sort of layering issue happening there, which is causing it to disappear. But I didn't have time to really go into that because I really want to do this demonstration. So starting over again. If you are familiar with Photoshop, you know that for photo editing, you can warp the items and make them look different ways. Canva also has that feature through Liquify, which is an app in here, and you can access that by editing the photo that you are working with. So I put in a flower. So this is what the flower looked like originally. And then there's melt. In here, it's a lot cleaner than Photoshop. If you're not familiar with Photoshop, you'll probably have an easier time understanding this. So in here, you can choose the degree of melt, okay? So zero melt, it still looks like a flower. But if you want just a little bit, and what I've noticed with these settings is when you go to an extreme, it can be helpful, but sometimes if you want to just add a little touch of uniqueness, you want to keep it closer to like less extreme. Basically, you don't want to go too extreme with it. And if you're looking for that very artsy sort of, you know, retro, bizarre, futuristic, surrealistic situation, then you would want to go all the way there. But if you just want a little bit of funkiness, you're gonna go, yeah, don't go like too hard with it. So this is the scale, and as you can tell, it kind of is choosing where the warps are happening. So you can alter some of the positions of the petals, and then this is the amount, which is also seems to be affecting kind of the bulge of it. Um, yeah, and then the wobble scale. Oh, I think that's affected by the wobble amount. So this will also cause it to swish in different ways.
So cool looking.
Yeah, it is really cool. And the fact that they've, and as you can tell, now it looks really different from the original amount when there's no wobble scale. So when you add an extreme scale, it's really departed from looking like flour, and then you can also smear it. And this is more going into like oil painting effects. So if you're trying to recreate these like realistic textures, which can be really interesting for different graphics or flyers, this is one way to kind of achieve that is using liquify. And there are a lot of other let me delete this. I'll just show you one more. The same flower. We'll start over. So you go to edit and then you go back down into apps. For me, it'll be in recently used and then liquify. And so there's smudge also, which again has that oil painting effect. And then this one is flow, which seems just more vectory. Oh yeah, it's kind of getting oil and watercolory there. But having just a little like touch of this can help make your graphic a little bit more unique, um, and just make it a little bit more memorable than a graphic that's like very basic. So I wanted to share that, and there are a lot of different apps that are free in Canva. There are some paid ones. So some of the other things that I was trying to do in Photoshop, they have actually it's made now by a third party in Canva, and you have to pay for it. So that's what I find really interesting about Canva's model. Actually, maybe I can show you that really quick. So it's Image Blender, and in Photoshop and in Procreate, you can multiply images. You can take them and blend them together in really interesting ways when you have Photoshop or Procreate. But in Canva, what they've done is that it's now been given to a third party, which is this company. Um, let me see. Oops, that is not what I meant to click. Upgrade to Image Blender Pro. So if I click here, okay, so you can see it's Repixo at the top. And so you can buy this app, and it looks like it's a one-time fee. So it doesn't look like it's a subscription from when I researched it earlier, but it's specifically an app within Canva. So Canva itself doesn't have the ability to do this, to kind of blend the two things like that. You'd have to go into Photoshop or like kind of blend things yourself manually. If you want this to be done automatically, you'd use something like Repixo, I guess is how you would say it. So it's really interesting like how Canva's model is set up than Adobe's model, which is a very closed sort of system. And Canva's like, no, we'll give you all of these things. You guys make your own plugins, your own add-ons, and your own apps in here, and people can use them as they want. So it is additional cost, but this one is a one-time fee. So just you can kind of pay attention to that and pay attention to the different ways these programs are set up, and find something that really works for you. Like if you want it to all just be within one platform that has the same UI across everything and by the same company, you'd probably go for something like Adobe, because they also have Adobe Express now, which we can go into that at some point if you want. It's similar to Canva, and it's pretty usable as well, but it sticks to like the Adobe way of doing things. Or if you want to go into Canva, you can kind of like see how this is set up. And there are so many apps. This is another one that I was playing with called Depth Text. And once you put the text, if I just do Bob, okay, and then I add that to the design, it'll take a minute. Okay, and it did it, right? So you can create interesting text. However, this is not editable now. So you cannot actually change the letters in here. Oh, wait, yes, it is. Just kidding. Wait, when did this the other day? It wasn't.
Maybe they updated it.
No, I don't think they did. I think I didn't test it right. Or I might have created it from text that was already in here and then or something. I don't know. So yeah, you can edit it. But this is something that in Adobe you wouldn't use a third-party app. You would just make it within um, either Illustrator, InDesign, or Photoshop to create something like this. So I just wanted to demonstrate those two things. And oh, and there's one more thing I noticed in Canva the other day that was new. And I wanted to show it here. Oh no. Okay, maybe it's not in here. I think it was in when you're exporting as a PDF, maybe? No. Okay, well, there was another feature in here that they had just unveiled. Okay, so I'll pause there. Any thoughts on Canva, Rob, or any questions or ideas? Anybody who's here, we're happy to field some answers for another 19 minutes.
Yeah. One thing that I want to talk a little briefly about, something I learned the other day, is the concept of a Gmail app. And Google has something called AppScript. They've had that for some time, but apparently you can install a plugin into your Gmail that gives you additional things like Zoom integration or Evernote integration, adding things to your edit drop down, things like that. And these are not browser plugins. So a browser plugin, you would install it into Chrome and it might affect Gmail. These are Gmail plugins, which means that some of those features actually work on your mobile device also. Not all of them, because mobile in general is just a little bit more limited most of the time, but it's very interesting. So if you go into the Google Workspace apps, I don't know if this is available for personal. I think it might have just been for workspaces, but you can look at some really interesting applications that are meant to enhance your Google Workspace tools. So they have their own high-level apps, Gmail, Calendar, things like that, but then you can also install like sub apps that work under those. So you can install like a calendar app that might work across your devices and not require a plugin. So that was kind of interesting. I haven't looked into that too deeply, but it seemed like something that maybe could be worth a look. Their marketplace didn't seem super extensive. I get the feeling it's probably pretty hard to get something into that marketplace. You probably have to be a pretty big publisher. So as far as developing your own stuff, you might need to stick with plugins. But for some things, there are some things that it was kind of cool. Like, hey, make this a better to-do system. There was even something like almost like a Kanban board style thing with your emails where you could move them between labels and it would show up like that. I thought that was really cool. So, take a look if you're so inclined. Can we see one? No, because I haven't installed any of them and I'm not about to install any of them onto my email until I know what they do. I can I can send you the link to the workspace though. Let's see. I think it was the workspace. Yeah. Yeah, here it was. Okay, so this is the workspace marketplace, and this this would only work if you are part of a workspace. Excuse me. A bunch of crap in my throat. All right. Can you open up that link? And this is kind of the Gmail stuff is in here, but also a bunch of other stuff. Well,
You
yeah,
can't share, like I have to screen share.
I can't screen share very effectively. No. Well, I suppose I could. Let me try it. Let's see. If we go here, we go to share, and then rather than my beautiful face, we're going to look up. That is enormous. All right. So I'll make that a little bit smaller. Yeah. So basically, this is kind of what it looks like. This is the sidebar is cut off. Make it smaller so that we can get more in there. There we go. So yeah, basically this is what it looks like. This is workspace.google.com/marketplace. And so you got stuff like mail merge for sending mass personalized emails, document management, connecting Google Sheets, Loom, bunch of partner apps. So you can see like this is something that they kind of have partnerships with. That was the one that was actually, oh yeah, Zoom for Google Workspace, right? Manage and join. So this lets you actually join the Zoom meeting from the email. It's kind of useful. License managers. Yeah, a bunch of these are very similar, like Asana or Jitsi Meet. If you use these, then you could make use of this. Otherwise, probably not thinking that useful. Notifications, email notifications for forms, Zendesk, PagerDuty, CO2 emissions of flights. So, like if you're a business and you're logging all your flights somewhere, you could use this to check that. This will add math equations probably into Google Sheets or Google Docs. Oh, let me see actually. Oh, it puts in the Google Docs. So yeah, I've actually seen there's things I've seen like this before where you can put a bunch of stuff in here and it actually shows as like a very cool appropriate algebra. I haven't had to do this sort of stuff since college, but you know, if this is the sort of thing, what is that? That is Pythagoras theorem? No, not Pythagoras theorem. This is something. I know what this formula is. This is let's see if I can zoom in on it. I cannot zoom in on it. Minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That is something. Oh, it's for calculating the two values of a polynomial, of a second degree polynomial. Something like that. I know I've used this before. Like this is an important formula. I just don't remember what it was for. Um, Anyway, that's kind of some stuff. And so if you want to put these symbols into a Google document, you wouldn't be able to do it normally, but this will let you do it. So that's that. Yeah. It looks like I have. What are you guys doing? My dogs are being funny. Anyway. Oh, there. Fee is back. Hi, Fee. So yeah, that was I've definitely had to do that in Microsoft Office when writing math homework because I don't remember why. I really don't remember why. There was a reason why I couldn't just write it out by hand like I did something. I think maybe I was trying to. I think I was writing actually a paper on math, which just sounds kind of weird, and I wanted to put the equations in there, and I didn't want to have to write them in after the fact because I probably forget one. Anyway, yeah, bunch of
Okay,
interesting stuff.
awesome. So, I want to make an announcement again. We are looking for three nonprofits. We would like to donate $500 to each nonprofit. So, if you are aware of a nonprofit that helps Earth in some way with either climate change or other things, please let us know. And that is part of our attempt to give back to the planet. And so, we're definitely looking for more recommendations and nominations there. And you can reply to this email, or if you're in the live, you can share a nonprofit that is close to your heart, and then we will add that to the nomination list.
Yeah, nonprofits, love them. They're great. I love me a good nonprofit.
Awesome. And then the next thing, oh, yeah. So someone was talking about a Super Bowl ad. But I mean, that's pretty old. Aw, there's a dog. Um, oh yeah, and there was this other podcast that hold on, I was trying to find the one that was
Hey, Cynthia. Good to see you.
oh, hi. Hello. I'm trying to find
You're trying to find something specific?
yeah, give me one second. I had like saved this. I had saved this really important.
You've come in at a good time, folks. This is basically a simulation of what we do all day when we're at work.
Okay, well, I can't find it, but we can go into this weight loss transformation one. So this is going into AI. Oopsies. Can I screen share? So we're going into an AI deep fake that I came across this week. So for those of you who don't know, I'm on a weight loss journey. I'm down about 47 pounds. So I watch a lot of weight loss content, and one of the creators, oops, I think it's not correctly configured in here. Hold on, let me pull this out. Um, Hi Cynthia. Okay. Can we? I'm not sure if this is showing up right.
It's very, that might be better. Yeah. I'm
Is
not getting
that
any
showing up
sound
correctly?
though.
You're not getting any sound, you said,
Uh-uh.
but it's like it's showing up correctly on the stream, right?
Yeah. It's a little.
Oh my gosh, there's so much configuring every time. All right, you want me to zoom in a little bit?
No, I gotcha.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna turn on the sound. Can you hear that?
No.
Click the link in my bio
There.
for my weight loss ebook. Everything I did to accomplish these goals, and it's just like, robot, you have not been through the trenches. These AI transformations are basically marketing that, hey, I did this, you can get this body too by what I did. It's all in my book here. Robot, you didn't do shit. You didn't do a thing, robots. So just stay safe out here because the robots, like I said, the robots are evolving. The robots are evolving.
Okay, so this
The robots are coming
I'll just show you the guy again.
to get us. The robots are coming to get us. Scrolling social media this morning, and do you know, I was almost tricked by AI. I have been tricked before, but I've been seeing all of these AI weight loss transformations go viral. They've been popping up on my feed, and I go straight to the comments because something seems a little off. Like it looks believable, but something's still off. I run straight to the comments. People are congratulating this robot. People are telling this robot, your body goes, how did you get this body? The robot is telling these people, I got this body with everything in my weight loss ebook.
Okay, so there it is. And that's the thing that I want to really double down on is the scams and where this whole journey of AI and the internet is kind of taking us, and how we need to really be like extremely informed users of the internet. Like I think it's just like a really big piece for everybody, because earlier you needed what was called social proof, and you still need that to a certain degree, but as you can see, somebody can just create this video, and the person who's doing this is extremely creative. Okay, like they are definitely entrepreneurs, they're definitely business minded, and they're like thinking through unethical business minded. There are many kinds of business that you can run. um and so, oh yeah, I love that. I believe in science, and I also believe in moderation, says Cynthia, which is, I think, that's a great sentence. Like that just sums this all up perfectly, because we're getting scammed, and the reason that we're getting scammed is for money. And this is something that I have kind of been thinking about a lot in terms of like integrity of your own business and of your own values and what we're creating in the future as humanity, as creators. We are all creators. We're all creating our future. Every person on earth is creative because we're creating our future. So what future are we creating? And that is something that I really think is very important when it comes to marketing. Anything that you're doing, being aware of what people are experiencing out there as they're going through content and as they're seeing things. You can see why trust is so shattered. And it really, like, I'm sorry, I'm on a little bit of a soapbox right now, but like, I really do feel like the trust element has been so broken in businesses. And I'm going to tell you about a sales call that I was in 2020, early 2020 or late 2023. I still remember it to this day. It was for a one-on-one like coaching um situation. Okay. And AI wasn't, I don't even think AI was like really widely publicly known at that point. It was a little bit, but not anywhere near where it is now. And so he had put a lot of videos up and he was talking about things that were very important to me that I had been working through. And I really was feeling like, oh, this person like may understand what I'm going through and may be able to help me. And so I'd gone into the sales call with him and it was an awful sales call. It was absolutely atrociously awful. And by the end of the call, he was angry with me because I wasn't interested in buying what he was selling. And he told me that I'm going to regret it, that this is going to be the biggest mistake that I'm making, and that I'm not going to be, I could be way further ahead than where I'm going to end up. And I'm going to miss out and I'm going to lose a whole bunch of things if I don't sign up for his whatever he was selling. Okay. That is scarcity based marketing, that is fear based marketing, and that is fear based selling. And there is a point to like touching on people's fears, because obviously when you're dealing with something painful, that's when you're going to buy a solution. Okay, so it makes sense that you actually know what the fuck is bothering people. But when we go into unethical business, when we go into business that doesn't feel good for anybody involved, that is something that I don't want to really create for the future. And that's like something Rob and I have been really intentional about, even how we sell. Like, we don't sell the way you're supposed to sell. Okay. Like, we don't do all that, the stuff you're supposed to do. Like, we have some of the like tactics of it, of like different tiers of like purchases that people can make and that kind of thing. But there's no pressure. That pressure element is like really toxic, I believe. And the other thing that's really toxic is this type of content where we're promised these crazy transformations, we're promised all of these ideal perfectionist like ways of thinking so that people buy. And so if you are a coach, or if you're anybody who's selling an actually legitimate service where you are actually trying to help people, you have to be aware that people are running into this type of content and they're getting scammed to this degree, and they're losing trust. And so what is it going to take for you to have integrity and value in the work that you do and demonstrate that you are actually like, you have integrity? And that is like a very deep, like sort of philosophical question, which is obviously like, we're not going to go into that a lot, but I really want to bring it up here because like that is what causes people to fear AI. And I wanted to bring that into this like conversation about health-based AI, because this week my Aura Ring gave me a bunch of notifications which I was not expecting. And I would not have paid attention to any of these trends. And this is why I'm not against AI, because it has helped me. Oopsies, hold on. Soapbox interrupted. Okay. This is why I'm not against health based AI, because it says here trend detected in my sleep score. So when I started in September, my sleep score was 76, and now for the last month, it's been 82 and above. Okay, which is a big deal for me. My readiness score has also gone up, and my activity score has also gone up over the last few months. And it gave me these notifications, and it asked me a question, which was like, what have you been doing the last few weeks that's been working for you? that is the power of AI. Like, that is really what we want to see. That is making a better future. Like, that's me looking out for my own health. And like, I really hope that enough awake, aware, conscious people guide AI and guide technology in general into like a better future for us, instead of trying to scam, like run a bunch of scams. Okay. Like, and the scamming is like the oldest thing that we've done as humans. I do have to go soon. But anyway, this is my little soapbox. Thank you for listening. Rob, did you want to add anything and close us out and finish us off for the night? Thanks.
One thing, I think this is completely off topic from anything else, but I think it's funny. Before the stream started, I had the Zoom meeting up. Not this meeting, the other meeting I was in. And I was singing The Remedy by Jason Mraz, because sometimes I just sing to myself. And so this is what, when I got the meeting summary, it said, Robert had a discussion about a tragedy and spending the night with the light on, but the conversation was fragmented and unclear. He mentioned something about amounts to nothing in the end and not wearing something. The discussion was informal and did not appear to result in any concrete decisions or action items. So, that's what AI thinks about The Remedy.
Well, is it wrong though? Is it wrong?
It is not wrong. There were no action items that came out of that discussion.
And also, I'm going to be quoting Cynthia on the profile. I believe in science, and I also believe in moderation. That is the quote of the night. Okay.
Everyone, folks.
I got to head out. Thank you, everyone.
See you later.
See you next time. Thank you for joining.
Stay happy.